Hey everybody, welcome back. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Actually, it's not. I'm not decorating. I'm not really doing anything. I'm not going to be here for the holidays. I'm going away. So I'll be doing some on the road videos, so stay tuned for that. But today I decided I'm going to make some pizzelles. So pizzelle, or as we call them, pizzelles, are a typical Italian, like kind of wafer cookie. I think from Abruzzo, but I could be wrong. Maybe they're eaten all over Italy. But anyway, this is something that we always had. For me, this is kind of like the quintessential Christmas cookie. It's never really Christmas until the house smells like anise. So, I like making them because they're different. It's not something that most people will have on their cookie trays. Everybody has chocolate chip and butter cookies and all those things, but pizzelles are something that are really kind of special for us. I'm invited to like some afternoon tea thing or something this Sunday, and I didn't really know what to bring. So I'm going to bring some pizzelles. They go good with tea. All right, so pretty simple to make. You do need a pizzelle iron. So if you're going to make these, you have to invest in a pizzelle iron. I only use it once a year. It's something that you could make more often if you wanted. Um, so you're going to have to invest in the equipment. It's not that expensive, but it's just one extra thing that you're going to have, you know, in your storage space or wherever you keep your things. All right, so I'm going to take you to the counter. I'll show you what we have here and just start putting them together. My iron is heating up on the table. There's not really a whole lot to show other than the ingredients and just kind of how they come out at the end, and that's going to be it. It's going to be a pretty short video. All right, let's take a look at the ingredients. All right, so here are the ingredients. So the recipe that I got from my mom calls for 6 eggs. So this is a half of a recipe. So I'm just using a half dozen eggs. So with a half dozen eggs, a cup of butter. This butter has been sitting out, it's softening, and a cup and a half of sugar. And then I have 3.5 cups of flour, 4 teaspoons of baking soda, baking powder. Oh, I better check this recipe, make sure I got it right. Yeah, baking powder. Okay, and then a tablespoon of vanilla extract, a tablespoon of anise oil. You don't want to get the anise extract that you find in the supermarket. It just doesn't work. So anise oil is a little bit hard to find. My mom, believe it or not, used to go to the pharmacy to get it. I bought this from Fante's in Philadelphia, and they ship. This is $6.99 a bottle. You get free shipping if you order over a certain amount. They have really good products. So check out Fante's. I'll see if I can put a link down below. And see what else they have. Make yourself a little holiday shipment. So anise oil, and then a tablespoon of anise seeds. If you don't want the anise seeds, you can skip them. I like them because I like having those little bursts of anise flavor in there. And the anise oil is strong. That's really what's going to smell up the house. But that's kind of the point of the whole thing, right? This is my Pizzelle iron. So this is a non-stick version. In the old days, they had a long iron on a handle that you do one at a time on the gas stove. Can you imagine doing this for hours? I have one friend who still does it that way. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is sift. This is my flour and my baking soda, baking powder. Every time I get that wrong, take a sip of your cocktail. I don't usually sift these things, but I have found in the past when I'm making these, sometimes I'll get some that like really puff up. And I think the reason for that is because I got a little clump of baking powder that just wasn't mixed in properly. And then I'm using butter. The recipe calls for shortening. So shortening, I think my mom probably used Crisco because that's what she used. You know, I kind of thought that Crisco was a healthy alternative to butter. Turns out it wasn't. So I like butter because it does make them nice and crispy. You could probably use oil if you wanted. So some form of fat, some form of shortening. Of course, we all know that margarine is not healthy, right? Just use butter, you know? All right, so I think that got all the clumps of the baking powder. I almost said it. Got all the clumps of the baking powder out. And my recipe doesn't really say, like, mix the dry ingredients, the wet ingredients. I got it all over the counter too. But I'm going to mix my anise seeds in with the dry ingredients right now because I'm going to be using my tablespoon for the vanilla and anise oil. All right, so dry ingredients are set. It's really good to kind of get everything set up in advance so you know what you're doing. I've made these. I've left out the sugar. I've forgotten baking powder, whatever. Like I've always just kind of like trying to follow a recipe and then not paying attention. So now I know that I have everything I need. I have my eggs, my butter, my sugar, my dry ingredients, and then I'm just going to add the vanilla and the anise oil. So I'm just going to cream the butter and sugar a little bit. Just to mix these together. And then one by one, I'm going to add my eggs. Actually, I'm going to give you a better angle here. Oh, hang on a minute. All right, that's better. So that was 2 eggs. I only have a hand mixer, but you know, if you had one of those stand mixers, probably would be better because then you have two hands free. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm just going to get a spatula to scrape down the sides and use this when I mix in the flour. It ends up being a pretty thick batter. So again, my recipe doesn't tell me when you should do things or how. I just have the ingredients. This is just something that my mother knew. And when she passed on the knowledge, she kind of didn't tell me everything here. So I'm going to put my extract and my anise oil in now. Once I made it, I cut the recipe in half, but I still used 2 tablespoons of anise oil. Oh, madame, they were so strong. All right, so that's it. Everything is in. I don't know if I don't remember if I used the mixer to mix this together. So let's see what happens here. It's probably too thick. Yeah, this would be too thick for me with the mixer. So I'm just going to mix this with my spatula. And you just want to incorporate everything, mix everything together. So I really like the anise. The anise are the traditional ones. You can make other flavors. So what are some of the other possibilities? Chocolate pizzelles. Just do the same thing. Leave out the anise oil and the anise seeds. My mom made chocolate pizzelles once and she put the anise in with it, which was kind of weird. Chocolate anise. I mean, you could do that, but for me, the point of making other flavors is because some people just don't like the anise. So you could do chocolate. And with that, I use cocoa powder. I don't know how much though. Maybe, well, I don't know how much. 1/4 cup for this recipe. I don't think I measured when I made them before. You could also do lemon. Lemon is nice. Put some lemon zest in and lemon extract. Well, the lemon extract, I'm not crazy about the flavor. I Googled today to see if I could make cinnamon. And what I found were cinnamon sugar. So it looks like they made them and then they dusted them with cinnamon and sugar, which didn't look appealing to me at all. Because then when you eat them, you're going to get cinnamon and sugar all over your hands. So I think with dried spices like cinnamon, probably you can't do that because you're going to cook them and it'll kind of burn. I also saw a recipe for cardamom orange, which looks interesting. So I would maybe look and see what other kinds of oils you could get and play around with that. All right, you need 2 teaspoons. Getting the proportions right is a little bit of a challenge. So my pizzelles come out in a variety of sizes. Sometimes they're perfect and sometimes they're not, but that's how people know that they're homemade. All right, let's go over to the table where I have the pizzelle iron set up. I'll show you how we start out. And then I'm not going to talk to you the whole time because this will take a while. All right, my iron is hot. It's been heating up for a while. The first batch that you make, it's going to be funky. They might burn. They might stick. So just, don't freak out because the first ones are always problematic. I used to have a pizzelle iron that had a little light that would kind of tell me when they were done. So I don't really know how to time this. Sometimes you open it up, so the light just came on. Sometimes you open it up and they're not done yet. You can just close it again and let them cook a little bit more. Let's take a look. No, not done yet. I might have messed that one up, but they looked pretty good actually. So I like mine to be just kind of nice golden brown. Perfect. That's really nice. They're soft now, but they will crisp up as they cool. Those look really nice. So I'm using not a full teaspoon, just about 2/3 of a teaspoon, just kind of on the tip. And sometimes you get more, sometimes you get less. What I'm trying to avoid is putting too much, because when you put too much, I think that might have been too much. When you put too much, then it starts to seep out on the edges and it just kind of gets messy. So I would rather them look like this. So it didn't go all the way to the edge, all the way around. But look how beautiful that is. So you just kind of keep an eye on it when it stops steaming. That usually tells you that it's done. Yeah, beautiful. All right, so they're looking good. Okay, so I'll see you in a little bit. Let me see if I... All right, here they are. So I got, this is 5 dozen and then an extra 4. I ate 2 already. I have to test them, they're good. So you can see they're all slightly different. This one is like as close to perfect as I could get. I like when it goes all the way to the edge, it's pretty uniformly round. And then you get ones like this where the batter kind of went over to one side and you get these weird edges, which I don't like. This one. And then they're all different colors. Some of them are dark, some of them are light. That's okay. Some people like them darker. Some people like them lighter. Variety is the spice of life. Okay, and then these were the second to last batch. And I don't know if you can see the thickness. They came in a little bit thicker. So I don't know if I got a clump of baking soda, baking powder, if I got a clump of baking powder in there. So they're also not as crispy. I don't like them as much. We had these in Abruzzo. We had dinner with our cousins, and they served them. It was the middle of summer, so it wasn't a Christmas treat for them. You can see how crispy that is. Really thin and crispy. Delicious. Oh my God, I'm going to be so full. Anyway, we had these with our cousin. Theirs were thicker. They were soft. And they were not anise flavored. They were just kind of plain. I like these better. All right. So I got about 5 dozen. Just keep them in a tin. I have a couple of old like popcorn tins. I line them with wax paper and just keep them in a cool, dark place. And they'll stay for a while. They'll last for a few weeks, a month. My dad used to love to take these. He would just break one up in his coffee. So put that in his coffee cup and then fish it out with a spoon. Kind of made a pizzelle soup with coffee. Great thing to have in the morning, but a really nice thing to put on your cookie tray for Christmas if you want something different. You can experiment with different flavors. Make them any time of year. Kind of look like snowflakes, which is probably why we make them for Christmas. I don't know why we only made them for Christmas, but that's what makes them special. All right, I'm going to put the recipe down below in the comments, and also I'll put a link to Fante's if you're looking for anise oil. You can definitely order it from Fante's. Okay, that's it. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you make pizzelles, if you like pizzelles, if you made them. Let me know how it went. And see you next time on Appa's Kitchen. Bye.